It's amazing, I'm the reason everybody fired up this evening.
Thanks for taking the time to view this tutorial. What we're going to do is go over the basics of creating a print-ready document file. This is a series, and it won't just cover traditional publishing, but also give a brief introduction to electronic publishing. Specifically for this part of the tutorial, you'll need a word processing tool. There's a lot of tools out there to choose from. In my case, I use Word 2007. So the steps I take will probably reflect that program more than anything else. But you can use whatever program you're familiar with, and the steps are transferable, if not, even if the terminology isn't. The concepts are simple, the steps are simple, and when you're finished, you'll have a base to build on when you're attempting your own projects. The first thing you need to do is create your document. A tip that'll speed things up for you is, in the process of creating, keep the formatting to a minimum. Don't correct spelling or grammar either. Well, not until the document's done. One thing you need to do though is show your paragraph structure. Whatever you choose to do, keep it consistent. For this tutorial, I'll be using block paragraphing. A common mistake most people have is hitting the enter or return key twice to simulate the spacing that you need. What you actually need to do though is go to your home tab, expand the paragraph launcher, and go to your line spacing options. Select your spacing after paragraph setting and set the spacing to 6. That should probably work out okay for you. The reason you do this is to keep your formatting as clean and manageable as possible. Not to mention later when you're ready to publish, other programs will recognize these settings without too much hassle. If later in your document you have something like a dialogue and the spacing doesn't work out, when you're finished creating your document, highlight and change the spacing settings for that specific section, and then you leave your overall spacing the way you set it initially. After you're finished setting your spacing, continue to create your document. If you're writing a book with more than one chapter or sections, what you need to do is insert a page break whenever you get to a new section. Don't press enter until you get to a new blank page, and don't insert a blank page. What happens when you insert a page break is that you're able to format each section without one section affecting the other one. After you finish creating the document and then, of course, editing it, then the formatting starts. One of the first things you need to do is justify. We justify because it's standard, and we justify because in print it's a lot more appealing to the reader. In an electronic form, as we'll see later, the appeal is more subject to taste. To justify, stay on your home tab and click the justify command button in the paragraph group. Make sure you highlight the document, the entire document, so that all your text is affected. After you align the text, the steps that come after are pretty much up to you and whatever you prefer to do. What I'm going to do at this point is add the headings for each chapter. You can also create styles and implement them on your headers. To keep everything consistent. But for what we're doing, it's not necessary. We're not doing anything that complicated. Page 1 and page 2 of your document will always be your title page and your copyright page. Page 1, your title page. Page 2 is your copyright page. These two pages are standard and all books should have them. What we need to do now is add 2 blank pages to work with at the beginning of the document. Go to the top of your document and go back to your Insert tab and insert 2 page breaks. Remember, a page break won't necessarily create a page for you. After you've revealed formatting, you'll most likely see where the page break is. Click at the beginning of the page break and press enter so that you're now on an active page. What you now have is a page that you can work with without affecting any of the rest of the document. Or if you do affect the rest of the document, it's nothing too drastic. One thing to note though, while you're entering the title of your book on the title page, remember proper capitalization rules, no matter how you wrote the title on your book cover. On the second page, you have your copyright information and your ISBN. You won't always have an ISBN to start out, but depending on your marketing, what you want to do with your marketing, by the time you're ready to publish, you should probably consider what your options are in getting an ISBN, and we'll cover ISBNs in a later tutorial. Something else that you might want to do is vertically center the title page. The best way to do this is to use the vertical align function and not your enter or return key. While we're at it, we might as well align the copyright page too. The first thing you do is go to your page layout tab, select the page setup launcher. Inside the page setup, go to the layout tab, then go down to vertical alignment. Choose an option from the drop down menu. In this case, we chose bottom. I made a mistake here and forgot to only align the selected text, and everything was aligned to the bottom. Here we'll follow similar steps to align the title page. After getting back into layout, we'll go back to vertical align. Select center and apply to selected text. The first 2 pages are now inserted into the document, and they're both formatted how we wanted them to be without them affecting the rest of the document too much or pretty much not at all. After we have all the necessary pages, we can go forward now and select the size for a potential book. What I suggest for marketing and distribution purposes is to choose a standard size. Most outlets don't accommodate very well for custom trims. For what we're doing, we'll use the 5x8 book size. It's pretty much a standard book size. To start the process, we go back to the page layout tab, back to the page setup launcher. The first thing we'll set though is the margins. Bottom, top, right, and left margins will all be 1.5 centimeters. I'm using metric units, and if you don't use metric units, just convert to the appropriate measurement that you use. The gutter, or the place where the book is bound together, needs to be set at least 0.5 centimeters. Make sure that the document is still readable. Just to make sure that the document is still readable. Then we move to the paper tab. Here we set the book size. Although there is a lot of presets in the drop down menu, I think it's a lot easier and a lot more convenient just to set a custom size. And again, I'm going to use metric units, but we all know that the book is a 5x8 inch, a standard 5x8 inch book. After we set the page size, we move to the layout tab. Here we're able to not only set the vertical alignment, but also the distance that the header and footer are from the edge of the page. The default setting is usually workable for now, so I don't think we should. I usually just leave it where it is. Another thing we can check or select are the options that state different odd and even pages, and the other one that says different first page. For the first page, which is the title page, this means the running header and footer won't be present unless we put it in separately from the other pages, and that's what we want to happen. We don't want a header on the first page or a page number on the first page. For what this does though, for the odd and even pages though, is it separates them so that the numbers are on the edge of their respective pages. This way, one or the other number isn't stuck being in the gutter. At this point is where I choose to put my to enter my table of contents. Why would I insert my table of contents now? Because, well, the document's complete. There won't be any more drastic changes that are gonna cause an upheaval in my table of contents. So once I set it, this page will just remain exactly as it is until I finish with the entire project. To fit this page in, go back to the top of the first chapter and insert a page break. I like to have a blank page after my table of contents, but what you do with this is probably up to you and what you like. But me personally, I like to have that blank page. And at this point, there isn't much left to do besides entering the header and footer. So you can fool around a bit and see what you like more. As I said before, the only thing left to put in place is the header and footer. The header should include your book title and could possibly include your page number. For what we're doing though, we'll only have the book title in the header, and we'll put the page numbers at the bottom of the page. To do this, we go to the Insert tab, choose a page number setup, and then because the odd and even pages are separated, we're going to have to do this twice. Make sure to get the numbers at the far edges of the pages that they're on. And remember that remember while you're doing this, which page you're dealing with, whether it's an odd page or an even page. Odd numbers are on the right, even numbers are on the left. Although the running header will probably be the same for both odd and even pages, because we separated the pages to accommodate the page numbering, you're going to have to do this twice also. What you need to do is go to the Insert tab, select the Insert Header button, choose Insert Text, and the only formatting you have to do here is make sure that the text is center justified. Once you've done it for both odd and even pages, then your document is fully formatted. So that's the end of that's pretty much where we end off, because after this, that's pretty much all you have to do. This is basic. It's just something to build on. I didn't put in anything that's comes after this is pretty much up to you what you want to add. This is a basic document that you can use to create any size book and any file that you want and make it ready to go to print. What we're going to deal with in the tutorial after this is how you print a PDF, because to submit your document to any printer, it needs to be a PDF. And then we're going to just cover all the steps that we need to print the PDF. But the first thing you needed to do was create your document, and this is creating your document. Any links that I think that might be useful that I mentioned in the video, I'm going to put in the description below. I'm also going to put a few contacts in the bottom, so if you have any questions, feel free to get in contact. I'm not a Mac user, but when it comes to word processing, there isn't much difference between the two systems, and there won't be too many discrepancies, so I might be able to answer those questions also. So hopefully it was helpful, and thanks again for taking the time to view the tutorial.
It's amazing, I'm the reason everybody fired up this evening.